Hello guys, good evening for everybody out there. Um, Here is afternoon. Right now it is 1 in the afternoon. I'm glad I had the opportunity to talk to you guys today, to to be a little closer in a different way, in a way that I'm not really comfortable. At the moment, it's the first time, the first experience I have doing these things, sending videos or trying to get a message across a screen, not to real people in front of me. It's a little more awkward, I would say, than a video call. But I'm really happy and I'm glad I can speak to you guys today and we can be in contact and hopefully if all things keep falling into place as they go, me and my family will be going to Belize in a month or so. So I'm really excited about that. I'm really looking forward to be back with you, with my family, with the Fusion family, with my friends, and I'm really glad I can do this today. And I wanted to start this little short message or something, however you want to call it. It is something that is been in my heart, so I really don't have a lot of scripture for it. I just have one, which is a promise that God spoke to me at the beginning of the year when I came here. Many of you know a little bit of the story and how we came here, and I don't want to make this about me, but I also feel comfortable speaking from my experience and from what God is doing in me and through me and in my family. So I want to start with Matthew 6:26. Was something that in the first weeks that I was here asking for direction, asking for God to speak something to me, to give me a little more clarity on what we were doing here, what was going to happen. God spoke to me through Matthew 6:26, and that part where I never hit me this way before, and I think I never took it to this level, because I think through this time, God has been taking me to a new level of what it means to believe that He is good, that He is my Father and He provides for me. When you read in Matthew 6:26, it says even the birds that don't work, they're not concerned, they're not worried about it. So God confronted me with the truth and he said to me, will you believe that I will provide for you even when you do nothing, even when you just sit and you do nothing? And right in that, all my religious thoughts, my religious ideas wanted to come. Yes, God, but I have to be faithful to you, and I have to be faithful to the things that I have. And God was like, yeah, but can you be faithful to just sit down and do nothing? And that was something that was really hard for me to digest, because we all fall a little bit into the trap of performance, or how much we can produce or how much we can do, and it becomes really part of our identity. And one of the things that happened was that throughout the last 2 or 3 years, guys, been stripping things away from me, and things that they were part of my identity, and that He doesn't want those things to be my identity. He wants to be the only voice who defines me, who defines you. He wants to be the only one who says who we are, and the only one who we believe what He says. There is a dog barking now. It's a nice sound effect for you guys that I have. So I call this little short message a season with no mirrors, because I think what's been happening in my life, and especially throughout this last year and throughout the COVID or coronavirus, or however you want to say it, whatever you stand about this, whether you believe it is a hoax, it is completely true, it is partially true, it's a mythology. The truth is that evil people have been trying to use this to control the rest of the population with fear, and in that mess, throughout all of that, for us as Christians, and for many of you probably, maybe you're going through this, but especially for me, I feel that God started taking away some of the things that I hold on to as part of my Christianity, a part of my relationship with God. And all of a sudden, I didn't have a job, I didn't have church, I didn't have a place where to perform, where to hang out with people. All I had was me and my family, and we had the house, and we had food and the bare necessities, but no other thing that I could hold on to say, okay, this is what makes me valuable. This thing here can define me. None of that was there anymore. I have me and my wife and Pearl sometimes talk. We had all these clothes that we bought a little bit before leaving Belize, and we couldn't even use them. And it's like you have all these things and you can't use it, you can't do anything. So everything starts being taken away from me, away from us. And maybe some of you are in that same position. And I call this a season with no mirrors, because the fact that you don't have anywhere to look at yourself and to measure where you're at, to measure if you are growing, to measure if you are doing good, to measure even how sometimes you think, well, if I'm doing good in this area, it probably means that my relationship with God is good. If I'm performing good at church, or if I'm getting this opportunity, it probably means that the favor of God is over my life. And there was a little bit of me that still remaining into that, into looking for these things to define me and to say where I was in my relationship with Him. There was this kind of things that I used to measure or to compare myself with, and all of a sudden they weren't there anymore. And even as a worker, as a part of a team, I always need feedback. I always need someone to tell me you're doing good, or someone to sometimes just yell at me and give me a spanking and correct me and do something and give me direction. And what God has shown me through all of this is that it is His jealousy, and for Him to be the only voice who defines us, for Him to be the only one who speaks into our lives and who tells us who we are and who we are not. And He knows when to speak. Sometimes I think I need feedback, and I need God to be telling me all these things and patting me on the back. And I ask and I pray, and sometimes it doesn't happen, but He knows what needs to be spoken into my life and what doesn't. So what I have to say to you, the first thing, or the most important part of this message, is surrender. Just let go. Just let go of your expectations, or you going back to your normality. And what I mean by your normality, not to your normal life, but for you trying to measure your the success in your life, or how good of a Christian or how good of a son you are, and just focus on listening and not wasting this time and trying to learn to hear and to the voice of God, to the voice that should be the only one who defines you, who defines me, who defines us, who says who we are and who we are not. So surrender. Surrender who you think you are, and also surrender who you want to be. Because sometimes in this performance, in the treadmill of performance, as someone calls it, and where we think that we need to perform and we need to do and we need to control all these things. Sometimes we think that we can even control our relationship with God and the progress of our relationship with God. Sometimes I wish my relationship with God would be different. Sometimes I wish I would be more disciplined, or sometimes I wish I would have a bigger passion for praying, or sometimes I wish it would be easier for me to witness to other people about God. Sometimes I wish some things would be a little easier for me to do, to perform. There is promises and things that I see in the Bible that I wish would be happening in my life, and they are not. And sometimes we believe that it's up to us to make those things happen. And what I have to say about that is just surrender and just rest in God, rest in His promise, rest on who He is, because it's Him who is leading you. It's Him who is making you grow, who is pursuing you. For many years, people were taught that, or I was taught, that God didn't want to do anything with us because sin separated us from Him. And so we needed to basically, in our way, try to get clean first, and then we can approach Him. But the first thing that I see in Genesis that Adam does, that God does after Adam falls and Adam sins, is God goes looking for him. So sometimes we think that because all these things are right now happening in our lives, and maybe we are dealing with some sort of sin or some sort of weakness, that probably God is not interested in us anymore, and probably some things in our lives are not working, or some miracles are not happening because we believe that it's up to us for those things to happen. For some of you, it might be really hard to believe this, but what I want to tell you today is just believe Him. Just sit down and rest. Rest in Him. Don't waste this time trying to recreate something that might not come back. And like I said before, I'm not talking about walking around with a mask again, but I'm talking about this way that you used to think your Christianity should be. Stop thinking that you can control your relationship with Him, and just rest assured that you are exactly where He wants you to be. You are exactly where He wants you to be, in your spiritual side of life, and in the position you are right now, in the country you are right now, in the age you are right now. If God put you and me in these, you can call it dark times, in these confusing times where the world is going a little bit cuckoo, it's because He believed that we can handle it. He believes that we can do it, that we can go through it, and that we can make a difference. So that is my main message for you today, and I hope it can stay in your heart, and that you can just be faithful on just remaining sitting, because even when you don't do anything, He can provide for you. He can provide more than the things that you can think right now, more than the financial things, more than the material things, but He can provide for you all the other emotional needs that you think that you need. And He can also provide for you those new levels that you are wishing and that you are praying for, to be in relationship with Him. So I hope this stays with you, and I pray to be soon with you guys. I love you all, and I pray that you can make a difference and spread some hope. Spread some of the hope that Jesus gives you, some of the love that He has placed in your heart, and that you can make a difference wherever you are. And because doing the will of God is not a matter of a place, it's not a matter of how, but it's a matter just of being obedient, and even if it means being obedient to do nothing. So I love you guys. Have a good evening, and I see you soon.